This was from Marvin. Are Deion Sanders kids better recruiters than him? All right, let's get into this because I made Colorado Twitter very mad last night. I guess it was 2 nights ago. We were passing around that Shilo Sanders Instagram story. Shilo is Deion's son. He plays safety. And it basically said, defensive transfers DM me. Offensive transfers DM Shedeur Sanders, who's the quarterback, who's also Deion's son. And I put up a joke about, hey, Deion's putting his kids to work. The resume line's going to be like starting safety and assistant player personnel director. And that didn't sit well with the Colorado fans. And they thought they got out. I was not the only one who said it, because everybody who follows this stuff says, okay, the way Colorado is building its rosters does not seem to portend sustainable success. They're not super aggressive recruiting high school players. They're not really getting a lot of impact players out of the portal. They have a great core in Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders and Shilo Sanders, but they've not been able to put the big guys around them that they need to. And so the Colorado folks thought they had us last night because Luther Burden, the excellent wide receiver at Missouri, put out a tweet or maybe it was an Instagram story, said, transfers hit me up. And they're like, see, is Missouri also an unserious program? No, Missouri's not an unserious program. Because Eli Drinkwitz, the coach at Missouri, he does in-home visits with recruits. He does school visits with recruits. He aggressively recruits high school players to try to build a foundation for his program. And maybe that's why they won 11 games last year. Like, if Colorado wins 11 games, I will not make fun of the way Colorado recruits. I promise you that. I'll be like, nope, Deion's got to figure it out. But Colorado's not going to win 11 games this year. Colorado is going to have a tough schedule in the Big 12. I realize some of you think that because they left the Pac-12 and Oregon and Washington are gone and all that, that it gets easier. It does not. The Big 12 doesn't have any really weak links. Like it used to be Kansas. It's definitely not Kansas anymore. Every game's going to be hard. So you can tell me that Colorado was close in most of their games, that they got blown out by Oregon and Washington, but they were close in the other. Okay, that's fine. But unless they're significantly better in the offensive and defensive lines, the results are going to be basically the same this year. So that's where I wonder about the recruiting. You know, they don't have any commitments yet for the class of 2025. It feels like this is a situation where Deion has built a team for Shedeur and for Shilo and for Travis Hunter. They're going to go to the NFL after this season. Then what happens? It's not a matter of disliking Deion. I don't know how to break this to you guys. We're critical of all these head coaches. People are like, well, you didn't say this about Eli Drinkwitz. The hell I didn't. I had a rant last year after Eli Drinkwitz got extended following a 6-win season, where I'm like, who the hell's trying to steal your 6-win coach? Like, no. Everybody gets held to a pretty high standard. It's hard to coach at this level. You get criticized a lot. The thing about Deion is he could be the best recruiter in the world if he would just do the baseline things that all the other coaches do. And I know what you're saying. Who doesn't have to? No, he doesn't have to. But if he wanted to be the best recruiter in the world, he could. Because there are very few coaches who are getting a discount anymore. Like Nick Saban got a discount in the NIL world. Because if you go play for Nick Saban, there's a very good chance you're going to wind up a first rounder and a very good chance you're going to win a national title while you're playing. Well, Nick Saban's not coaching anymore. Kalen DeBoer does not get the same discount. Kirby Smart probably gets a bit of a discount still. He's got a nice track record. I think if you're a receiver going to Ohio State, there might be a discount there because they've been able to put so many guys in the first round. Brian Hartline, maybe the best receivers coach in America. There are not a lot of discounts otherwise. Deion could actually get one because here's the thing. If you go play for Deion Sanders, his platform is so much bigger than every coach's, and he will put you on that platform. And your chance of making money, of building a brand, skyrockets. He can sell that. And I think he does try to sell that. But if he sells that a little bit harder, they could conceivably get more high school players that could build them a foundation to be a really good program. But that's not what they're trying to do. So it's not a dislike of Deion Sanders. I think he's entertaining as hell. I think he's been good for Colorado. I know some people are like, well, if he leaves, where are they? Well, they've sold sorry, I almost cussed there. They've sold a lot of tickets. If he leaves, they're in a better place still. But the thing is, he has the capability to be a very, very special coach. He's got to choose to want to do that, though. So that's really all it is. The potential's there. But I'm not sure that he wants to do that. As far as are Shilo and Shedeur better recruiters? I'm sure Shilo and Shedeur are amazing recruiters. And there's nothing wrong with your players recruiting. Every good program has its players recruit. Just like Luther Burden recruiting for Missouri. Like, you want your best players to be your out front guys. That's what you put when you bring in people on visits, you put them with your best players if you really want them. But there is a way that this has been done for years, and you can say that, well, Deion's doing it differently. He's playing four-dimensional chess. He's not playing four-dimensional chess. The way it's been done for years has been done for years because it works. Like, what Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State do, it works. There's a reason they keep doing it. Even though the system has changed, even though NIL exists now, even though the transfer portal can allow you to get more experienced players to come in. There's a reason they keep going after the best players in high school and making sure they get them. Because it works. So we'll see what happens with Deion. But if this is the roster building strategy, I don't know that it's going to be successful long term. I don't know that it's going to be successful this season. Also, had a tweet from Rick George, the Colorado AD. So this is after Alton McCaskill announces that he's going to go in the portal. Alton McCaskill is a running back that Colorado got last year from Houston. And Alton McCaskill was really good as a freshman at Houston in 2021, missed the entire 2022 season due to injury. He redshirted at Colorado last year, played in 4 games and then redshirted, and then he's leaving. Now, I don't get the sense that of the guys that Colorado's lost in the portal, and I believe the number is 11 right now in the spring window. And remember, they're still practicing. Like, they're still doing spring practice till the 27th. I don't get the sense that these are guys that they were expecting to be giant contributors to this team. But Rick George did chime in on a tweet from a Colorado fan saying that the Colorado fan said the portal window has been brutal. Rick George, the AD, says, thank the attorney generals that filed the temporary restraining order. Okay, I question that. One, because your coach's roster building strategy has been churn through the portal. So you'd think you would have wanted that to happen. You'd think you'd be fine with players being able to transfer as many times as you want. Also, let's discuss how accountability works here for Rick George. So Rick George would like you to blame the attorneys general who brought the lawsuit that pointed out that holding non-employees to non-compete clauses might violate the Sherman Act. That competitors colluding to make a rule that holds non-employees to non-compete clauses would violate the Sherman Act. It's not the attorneys general's, is that how you say it? I think that's how you say it, fault that you were breaking the law. Like, the schools were the ones breaking the law, not the attorney generals. They weren't breaking the law. They simply pointed out that you were breaking the law. So look inward, Rick George. Blame yourself and your fellow athletic directors and fellow school presidents, because You were the ones operating the horizontal price fixing scheme. Now you have to fix it. But it is interesting hearing this because, like I said, I didn't get the impression that Colorado was all that broken up about who they've lost in the transfer portal this spring. Because the churn seems to be the feature and not the bug in Deion Sanders' roster building strategy. So what is the issue here? And I think I thought back to a conversation I had with Lane Kiffin before spring practice, and I think this may be it. So Lane Kiffin admits that part of the reason why he was so aggressive in the transfer portal early on, and especially with guys who had 3 or 4 years of eligibility remaining when they got to Ole Miss, was once they transferred, as long as they were undergrads, they couldn't transfer again and play immediately. They would have had to sit out a year. Well, that injunction we talked about that happened in the federal court in December in West Virginia, that eliminated that as a strategy. Like, you couldn't keep those guys. Like, it was a way to force development on them, essentially. Because just like you used to be able to keep the guys you signed out of high school because they would have to sit a year if they left, suddenly the guys you took after their first transfer would have had to sit a year after they left. And Kiffin was like, well, we're just going to have to adjust. They changed the rules. Going to have to adjust to that. And you haven't seen Ole Miss lose a lot of those guys. Colorado's going to have to adjust to that, because if that was a strategy, and it wasn't a bad strategy, as Lane Kiffin has demonstrated, they're going to have to adjust to that. But yeah, don't blame the AGs. You were breaking the law. They were only pointing out that you were breaking the law. Now you get to deal with that. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.